Buckle up, royal fans! Nigeria just slammed the door on Harry and Meghan's second visit. After their high-profile tour of Nigeria just weeks ago, reports say Harry and Meghan's hopes for a second visit were quietly shut down.
Disaster opportunists, which is exactly right. Disaster tourists.
There are government employees that are still waiting for paychecks, back paychecks months ago.
Yeah.
You know, what are the odds that they're going to get paid quickly for this Harry and Meghan visit?
Like, talking about people who are always on their game, especially when it comes to trying to drum up support and get content for their next Netflix project. The Duke and Duchess of Montecito, Harry and Meghan, have gone on a, well, let's say a quasi-royal tour of Nigeria. They certainly haven't been meeting President
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry may no longer be working royals, but their recent trip to Nigeria looked very much like a royal tour of their own.
Meghan really is a great tool for representing a modern royal family, but not long after that tour did Meghan sort of do her doe-eyed crying to the camera and say, nobody knows how hard it is. And then off they went to Canada, then America, and have decided really that they miss it and clearly want to continue doing it. So have flown off.
You're in America now, and we don't give a shit about you. You're not our fucking prince. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Stay at home in your $29 million mansion, all right? This is a pattern for her. It's not about charity. It's about her image.
You've had the Duke and Duchess of Montecito running around like a rival royal family, trashing their family, trashing the monarchy.
They're not there on the behalf of the British government. They're there at the invitation of the Nigerian government. Some people think that this is a bit risky. You know, when you're not there on behalf of say, the British Home Office, you're kind of at the whims of your host. And there is concerns that maybe Harry and Meghan could be, they like to control.
This is the same woman who said, I never even considered my blackness until the British tabloids started to make a thing out of it. Now she's like, I am Nigeria. Fellow women, hear me roar.
Wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles. Let them go off and be, celebrities, that's fine. But don't do it in the name of our royal family.
To be honest, and very, very entitled.
Harry and Meghan, they have an issue when it comes to their memory and when it comes to the truth. She is relentless, she is shameless, and she is exhausting. You are not a successful female entrepreneur.
Buckle up. This isn't just royal drama. It's a global slap in the face. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle just got publicly humiliated. Nigeria, the country they recently called their second home, just rejected them. Not a delay, not a maybe, a flat-out no thanks. That's right, Meghan and Harry tried to come back, and Nigeria slammed the door shut.
She was an actress, she's not anymore. She basically travels around the world smiling and making sort of, happy faces and meeting people.
And trust us, the reason, it's not just shocking, it's embarrassing. This wasn't a polite no thanks. It was a loud, public absolutely not. So what went wrong? Why the sudden cold shoulder? Let's break it down. How the Sussexes went from VIP guests to persona non grata real fast.
So many of the locals are enraged over the fact that their government is going to be paying for the security of Harry and Meghan.
It all started with a cold, calculated no. And not from just anyone. Nigeria, one of Africa's most powerful nations, didn't dodge or delay. This wasn't a maybe later or a polite excuse. It was a direct official rejection, not straight from their Ministry of Foreign Affairs. No sugarcoating, no wiggle room, just you're not welcome.
Harry and Meghan, I don't know if this is a royal tour. They're not working royals, are they? But they're not politicians or pop stars. What exactly are they doing touring Nigeria in the first place, Kinsey?
Verified sources confirm it. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle tried to return to Nigeria. They called their first trip transformative and wanted more. But this time, Nigeria didn't just say no, they slammed the door shut. And this wasn't a polite decline. It came straight from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Why? Because officials believe this so-called feel-good tour might have had a hidden agenda. Not culture, not charity, but influence. And maybe even disruption. Let's break down why Nigeria rejected the royals and what they might really be afraid of.
Many Nigerians were thinking, well, this is a bit of a waste of public money. This is not like we're courting a state that can help us with resources. This is kind of like a faux royal couple that are there to kind of boost their image.
Back in 2024, the Sussexes were welcomed to Nigeria with open arms. But this time, Nigeria didn't just hesitate, they slammed the door in their faces. And let's be clear, This isn't gossip. It was a bold, calculated move, a deliberate act of diplomatic pushback. Sources say Nigerian officials made one thing crystal clear. There was zero national interest in another unofficial Sussex tour. That phrase alone, it's not just rejection, it's a message.
For one reason, to get their faces back on camera and to improve their image. They want people to think well of them, so they decide, you know what they really need? Us. What they need is us.
In plain terms, Nigeria saw no value, politically, economically, or culturally, in welcoming the Sussexes back. The government didn't want another staged parade of fake royalty. No photo ops, no scripted handshakes, no carefully planned impact moments. And this isn't just some random country saying no. This is Nigeria, Africa's biggest nation and a major global player. So when Abuja shuts the door, the message is loud and clear. The world is getting tired of the Sussex show.
For the basketball court, I just think that all they do is talk, and very little action.
And now let's talk about why this rejection really stings. One of the biggest sore spots? Their first visit felt fake to many Nigerians, more like a publicity tour than a real cultural exchange. But the moment that truly lit the fuse? Meghan Markle, standing in front of a cheering crowd, announcing she's 43% Nigerian, thanks to a mail-order DNA test. To many, it felt less like a tribute and more like a punchline. Was it pride or was it performance?
And now, they're reportedly fuming. What happened behind the scenes? Why did Nigeria say no? And how did the Sussexes react? Stick around, this story has more layers than you think. Their recent trip to Nigeria was painted as a pseudo-royal tour. Meghan embraced her Nigerian heritage, Harry gave speeches on mental health, and the couple received near-royal treatment.
Find out that she is almost half Nigerian, and that I think has sort of guided them somewhat in wanting to go there and do their photo calls. I understand as well that Nigeria will be hosting an element of the Invictus Games, set up, of course, by the Duke of Sussex, and he's been over there as well, meeting a young Nigerian.
Right, and Thomas Markle said he was surprised to find out Meghan was 43% Nigerian because he's always felt she was 100% Californian.
It wasn't the mic drop moment Meghan thought it was. Sure, there was applause, but it wasn't universal. To many Nigerians, it felt like a shallow stunt, reducing deep-rooted cultural identity to a percentage on a spit test. And what did Meghan get in return? Side-eyes, memes, and a storm of academic outrage. Cultural leaders and historians from Lagos to Abuja didn't hold back. They called it what they believed it truly was: ancestral cosplay.
Just went off on these, what did she call them? Queen's husband was dying, and she went on Oprah and suggested one or both of them are raging racists. She couldn't have cared less. She doesn't care about anyone other than herself, and I include Harry in that. She cares about her image. That's why she's there.
Meghan wore traditional Nigerian fabrics, danced at ceremonies, and posed with tribal elders, but critics weren't impressed. They said it all felt performative, surface level. There was no real dive into Nigeria's rich history, politics, or culture. One Nigerian historian didn't hold back. You don't get to wrap yourself in African identity only when it suits your brand. And behind the smiles, total chaos. Insiders from Nigeria's own security services said the first Sussex visit was a logistical nightmare. Even though Harry and Meghan are private citizens with no government role, they allegedly arrived expecting royal treatment. We're talking motorcades, luxury suites, full media crews, and ceremonial escorts. All the royal glam with none of the officials standing.
They felt like she dressed inappropriately throughout the tour. She changed clothes multiple times a day. And you're right, the objective was to look like she was the Princess of Wales, having her multiple meetings throughout the day, different looks, and that's not their status anymore. A week ago, Meghan Markle was throwing jam at her neighbors.
A senior intelligence officer put it bluntly in an interview with the nation Nigeria. They wanted the full royal treatment, without the responsibility or the credentials. This wasn't a state visit. It wasn't diplomacy. It was a self-styled celebrity tour. High profile, camera ready, and deeply out of touch. Harry and Meghan didn't just come to visit. They flew in with Netflix crews, staged a made-for-TV goodwill trip, and left expecting head of state honors. But this time, Nigeria wasn't playing along. This rejection wasn't just about blocking a second visit. It was a power move, a clear step to protect national dignity from being used as backdrops for someone else's brand. While the Sussexes smiled in well-lit photo ops with hand-picked tribal elders, many of Nigeria's actual royal families were never even contacted. No meetings, no invites, and absolutely no amusement.
forcing young women to marry their creepy neighbors when they're 12 years old. Wouldn't that make more of an impact? I mean, they're just total virtue signals.
Yeah.
One aide to a Yoruba royal family didn't hold back. They accused Harry and Meghan of royal cherry picking, only meeting with safe, cooperative figures while ignoring the real cultural hierarchy and long-standing traditions. Another royal insider went even further, calling the visit a mockery of true royal diplomacy. According to them, the Sussexes weren't there for authentic cultural exchange. They were chasing the illusion of royalty, and without respecting the very institutions that define it.
You don't want to be a royal and you don't want the duty and responsibility that goes with it, then please spare us all the performance art.
Behind the scenes, the backlash only got louder. Multiple tribal coalitions privately petitioned the federal government, urging them to block any future Sussex visits unless done through proper diplomatic channels. No more self-styled global royals, no brand ambassadors, just guests who follow protocol and show respect. This wasn't just a rejection, it was a full-scale repudiation. Nigeria's message was crystal clear. They saw through the performance, and they weren't playing along anymore. And this time, Nigeria didn't whisper no. They said it loudly, proudly, and with unmistakable diplomatic force. If Harry and Meghan thought this was just a small bump in the road, they miscalculated big time, because what followed wasn't quiet. It was a full-blown thunderstorm of backlash.
Like, she gets this platform, she gets on this stage, and instead of saying, what a beautiful country you have, I'm so blessed to be here, I am courageous, I am brave, like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Lady, you sound crazy.
Criticism is pouring in from every direction. Cultural leaders, global analysts, African royals, and media watchdogs, all adding fuel to a growing firestorm of disapproval. The emerging narrative? This wasn't a goodwill tour. It was, in the words of many, a global vanity tour gone rogue. And the backlash from Nigeria? That's just the beginning. The consequences are already rippling far beyond Africa, and they're only just getting started. So let's rewind to what Meghan Markle likely thought would be her big shining moment, her diaspora connection, her PR jackpot, the moment she stood in front of Nigerians and declared she was 43% Nigerian and called the trip deeply personal.
The mother was born in America, the father was born in America, but Meghan is now telling us that she's 43% Nigerian?
This is the most ridiculous.
Meghan's team didn't waste a second. They reportedly pitched everything: a documentary, a memoir chapter, even Archewell branded diaspora empowerment projects. But here's the harsh reality. None of it was endorsed. Not by Nigerian officials, not by local communities. Why? Because to many, that first visit felt blatantly self-serving. As Nigerian columnist Lou Oy put it, they came with cameras, not commitments. They left with headlines, not partnerships.
Wealthy, privileged young couple from California come over because Meghan's done a genealogy and they're making a Netflix documentary.
This wasn't about building bridges, it was about building brand moments. So when the Nigerian government said no, it wasn't about scheduling, it wasn't logistics, it was principle. This wasn't just a declined invitation, it was a full-on rejection of Meghan's attempt to commercialize cultural identity. And once the PR smoke cleared, the truth was impossible to ignore. Meghan wasn't trying to connect with Africa, she was trying to turn Nigeria into another Archewell asset. But this time,
Meghan Markle was slammed relentlessly in the media for claiming she undertook a DNA test that proved she was 43% Nigerian, and then referring to it multiple times throughout the trip.
For years, Harry and Meghan have been chasing what insiders call a soft throne, a place where they can play royalty, without the responsibility. No protocol, no duty, just photo ops, influence, and control. After burning bridges with Buckingham Palace, flopping in Hollywood, and losing favor with much of the US public, they turned to Nigeria, hoping it would be their fresh start, a blank slate, a new kingdom, minus the crown.
Critics questioned the true purpose of the visit, philanthropy or PR. The rejection is fueling royal commentary. Critics say the couple overstepped by organizing an unofficial royal tour without the crown's blessing. Others argue Nigeria simply doesn't want to get caught in the Sussex's monarchy crossfire.
Is she kidding? She's as white as I am. And she's over there like leaning in. Now I'm the face of the black woman. Okay.
But Nigeria is no one's playground. Sources inside the Nigerian Federal Executive Council confirmed this rejection wasn't impulsive, it was deliberate and strategic. Multiple ministries, including Foreign Affairs and Culture, were consulted before making the call, and the message, loud, clear, unshakable. Cultural identity is not for sale. The verdict was unanimous. Nigeria will not be a stage for the Sussexes' symbolic power plays. This wasn't just a quiet rebuke, it was a full rejection of imperial-style entitlement. The idea that Harry and Meghan could fly into another country, declare ancestral ties, and be welcomed with open arms and camera crews, firmly and publicly shut down. One senior Nigerian policy analyst said it best: they are not royalty here, they're tourists with a PR agenda.
But it's wild how much she is so confident in herself. I mean, basically what she just said was, I am courageous, I am brave.
Yeah, it's all about me, 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 me.
And if that wasn't embarrassing enough, here's the kicker. The British High Commission, the UK's official diplomatic body in Nigeria, had nothing to do with the Sussexes' first trip. No coordination, no endorsement, not even acknowledgement. In diplomatic terms, that's not just awkward. It's a flashing red flag. The visit was completely detached from UK foreign policy, and that matters. Why? Because it made Harry and Meghan look like rogue actors, using their ex-royal titles to insert themselves into complex geopolitical territory, with no official role, no credentials, no backing. One former UK diplomat in Abuja put it bluntly: the Sussexes acted like they were on official business. They weren't, and everyone knew it, especially the Nigerians. And behind closed doors, British officials were quietly relieved when Nigeria shut the door on a second visit. According to one insider, the UK Foreign Office had already flagged the couple as a potential diplomatic liability, a PR crisis waiting to happen if any Nigerian group accused them of misrepresentation or overstepping, which clearly they just did.
Meghan, you have a very privileged life.
Yeah.
We all get it. You're beautiful. You married a prince, but that's literally all you've done when it comes to your accomplishments.
The Sussexes now find themselves in the worst possible position. Exposed, unendorsed, and unwanted, their global influence isn't just fading, it's unraveling fast. And while Nigeria was the flashpoint, this isn't just about one country. Across the continent, there's a rising wave of resistance to what scholars are now calling celebrity colonialism. The pattern: wealthy Western figures parachute into African nations, deliver emotional speeches, pose for headlines, and leave. They take home social capital and polished content, but leave behind no real investment, no meaningful change. Nigerian author and sociologist Dr. Femi Dena said it best in a recent TV interview: they come with entitlement, with no humility, and they expect the world to clap. That era is over, and he's not alone. Several Pan-African cultural organizations have now issued formal statements demanding stricter protocols and clear guidelines for how foreign public figures, especially those with former royal ties, should behave when entering traditional or diplomatic spaces. The message: respect the culture or stay home.
You're in America now, and we don't give a shit about you. You're not our fucking prince. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Stay at home in your $29 million mansion, all right?
Some critics went even further, by calling Meghan's Nigeria trip a textbook case of Western opportunism, wrapped in the language of cultural connection. This marks a major shift, where Harry and Meghan once relied on global goodwill to keep their struggling brand alive. They're now running headfirst into a wall of skepticism, exhaustion, and an outright rejection. Nigeria's denial wasn't just a polite diplomatic no, it was the first domino to fall. What began as a glossy PR photo op has spiraled into a cautionary tale of overreach, tone deafness, and public humiliation. This rejection, it's not just another headline, it's a turning point. And in our next segment, we're diving deep into the ripple effects, how this international fallout is shaking up Meghan and Harry's standing in Hollywood, and why some of their biggest backers may be walking away. Don't blink, because the royal unraveling, it's just getting started. While Meghan and Harry were busy repackaging the Nigeria visit into PR gold. Think Archewell documentaries, memoir chapters, and branded empowerment specials. One of the biggest players in their media empire was already stepping back: Netflix, despite the Sussexes' push to turn the trip into a glossy, inspirational, Africa-themed feature.
Right, talking about people who are always on their game, especially when it comes to trying to drum up support and get content for their next Netflix project. The Duke and Duchess of Montecito, Harry and Meghan, have gone on a, well, let's say a quasi-royal tour of Nigeria. They certainly haven't been Meeting President.
Netflix never moved, no trailer, no teaser, no green light, and now we know why. Sources inside Netflix's original content division revealed the truth. The backlash was too big to ignore. There were red flags everywhere. Legal concerns over diplomatic misrepresentation, questions about consent from Nigerian authorities, and worst of all, fears that Harry and Meghan may have falsely presented themselves as working royals or cultural ambassadors. One insider told Deadline anonymously, "It wasn't worth the risk. The brand hit would be too big." Just like that, the Sussex's Africa narrative went from content gold to corporate liability. Even more revealing, Netflix didn't just kill the documentary, they scrapped internal plans for a Diaspora Dreams pitch centered on Meghan's 43% Nigerian reveal. The message couldn't be louder. Netflix wants no part in another Markle controversy, especially one tangled in geopolitical backlash. And if Netflix, arguably their biggest supporter, what is backing away, that's not just a red flag, it's a flashing warning light. The foundation of the Sussex media empire is cracking fast, and it doesn't stop there. Industry insiders are noticing a chilling trend. Hollywood elites are quietly but deliberately distancing themselves. One LA-based talent agent said it bluntly. People are tired of the drama. They bring heat, but it's toxic heat.
Meghan really is a great tool for representing a modern royal family, but not long after that tour did Meghan sort of do her doe-eyed crying to the camera and say, "Nobody knows how hard it is." And then off they went to Canada, then America, and have decided really that they miss it and clearly want to continue doing it. So have flown off.
In an industry built on image, no one wants to touch a brand more tied to controversy than creativity. That's the new reality setting in. The sentiment has shifted. Prove you can build something, not just break things. Even Beyonce's inner circle, once warm and welcoming, even inviting Meghan to the Cowboy Carter concert, has reportedly gone silent on any future appearances or collaborations. And it's not just the A-list scene pulling back. A prominent publicist who once championed the Sussexes quietly moved on, refocused on other, less volatile clients, stepping away from a brand now seen as weighed down by controversy. But the final blow, it's coming from the boardrooms of Beverly Hills. Multiple brand executives now label Harry and Meghan uninsurable. In industry terms, too risky to pitch, too unpredictable to sponsor, not worth the gamble. Once hailed as a global power couple with limitless potential, they're now becoming a cautionary tale in overexposure and underdelivery.
If you're into deep dives like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's a lot more coming you won't want to miss. Whether it's a political move, a diplomatic snub, or just a scheduling issue, one thing's clear. The Sussex brand is still polarizing, powerful, and always controversial. Will Nigeria welcome them back in the future, or is this relationship already showing cracks? Let us know in the comments. This story is far from over, so stay tuned.